Hey guys, it's Caleb from Rokblokz. Today in the shop we have a 2023 GR Corolla. We've got a new set of mud flaps for you, so let's go ahead and show you how to install them. Here we have the tools laid out that you'll need for install. You'll need a drill with a 1/4 inch drill bit and an 1/8 inch drill bit. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 4mm Allen, a level, a Sharpie to help mark, a insert puller, a flathead to also help with the inserts, and then a smaller flathead or Phillips to help undo one of the inserts in the rear. Here we have the front laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap for that corner, you'll get your mount tab, and then the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head to the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and pre-assemble our flap. We're going to take our tab, we're going to slide it through the rectangle hole coming from the side without the logo, pulling it to the side with the logo, and now we're ready to head over to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the front fender. We're going to begin by removing the factory screws from here, and one on the bottom side of the liner down here, and that point right here. We've already pre-loosened ours, so we're just going to go ahead and remove those. With those removed, we can set those to the side. We're going to be using the factory inserts at all 4 locations. One on the bottom, one right here, and even the one right here. So now, let's grab our flap and begin mounting. We're going to put our screw through the washer, and then through the flap, and then through another washer, and that's going to go into this pocket right here, going into that factory insert. Go ahead. I've started by hand a little bit. Now we're going to grab one of our short screws, screw into the bottom hole right here. Just a couple of turns. Grab another one of our short screws with a washer, and we'll get the top right here. Now we're going to take our Phillips head driver and tighten these down just till they are lightly snug. With those lightly snug, but we can still move the flap, we're going to take our final long screw with a washer and a 10mm spacer, and we're going to put that through the bottom. Now we're going to take our long screw, put our spacer on top of the mount tab, and that's going to go through the liner, back up into the factory insert right there, and we're going to push the flap, the inner portion of the flap, backwards, so that way the hole will line up. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. While holding pressure, we're going to get that snug, so that way it holds the flap up against the liner right here on the inside, with that just barely snug. Now we can take a step back, check the bottom with level, get it set to the position that we want. Now we've checked with the level, we're going to go ahead and fully tighten this down. We're going to start with the ones in the fender, and then our last will be this one on the bottom, and we'll hold inward pressure right here. Holding pressure on this inner mounting point while you tighten it is going to help it conform to the liner and allow you to have more wheel clearance. And that is how you complete the front install. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Now let's go ahead and jump to the rear. Here we have your rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap for that corner, and then your mount tab. You'll also get your mount plate, and then you'll also get the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head to the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to prep our flap by taking our mount tab, putting it through the rectangle slot here, clicking it into place so that it's on the same side as the logo. Now we're good to head over to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the rear of the car. We're going to begin by removing the rear liner, this component here, and the bottom component down here. To do so, it's a series of rivets and factory inserts. There's one right up in here, which is the smallest one, which may be the hardest. That has a Phillips head drive. You'll want to lightly turn that until it starts coming out. That one may take the longest. And then you'll take your flathead and insert pullers and remove the rest. So we're just going to go ahead, get these components out, and then we'll begin by mounting our mount plate to here. We'll reinstall this, and then we'll begin mounting our flap. So let's go ahead and remove all these inserts. Now with that final large threaded insert on the inside, we can go ahead, pull the liner forward. We're going to remove this back piece, and then you'll notice the last insert you'll find up behind the liner. It's right here. We'll go ahead, remove that. Now we'll jump back up and fully remove the liner. To fully remove the liner, we're going to go ahead and grab the bumper. We'll fold this inner tab, and then we're just going to pull inward. And it should separate from the tabs along the edge. Now we can go ahead, mount our mount plate, come back, throw this back in, reinstall all the clips, and then mount our flap. Now that we've removed the liner from the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our mount plate, and this is actually going to align with the line right here. And so it's going to align just right here, up along this edge. Each of these notches will correspond with a ridge in the liner. And so we're going to align that, pushing it up against the edge along here. And then we can take our Sharpie, and we'll go ahead and mark the center of each of these holes where the hex nuts are, or the hex-shaped holes. So we'll go ahead and get those marked out. And we can go ahead and we can take our 1/4-inch drill bit, drill through our marked holes. With those drilled out, we can go ahead, take our mount plate, and take our hex nuts and press them into the hex-shaped holes. You may need to set this down on the table or along an edge, and you can use a mallet if you need to. Just gonna wiggle these in. Alright, perfect. Now, with our hex nuts pressed in from the side with the edging, we can go ahead and align that back up with our holes. And we can take our countersunk screws, go ahead and get all 3 started. Now with all 3 started, we can take our 4mm and tighten that down. We're going to tighten these till they countersink themselves flush into the liner. With that fully aligned and in place, we can switch to our 1/8" drill bit. Now we're going to use the T-nuts as our drilling guide. We're just going to drill a pilot hole through each of those T-nuts. We'll switch back to our 1/4" drill bit. And from the other side, with light pressure, we're just going to open these holes, making sure that it's just light pressure so we don't drill into the T-nuts. At this point, before you expand the holes, if you want, you can go ahead and remove the mount plate if you're worried about damaging your T-nuts. If you just drill nice and light, you shouldn't have any issues. And now we can go ahead, test to make sure our T-nuts are fine with our M6 screws and make sure that they can pass through with no issue. If you're having any issues with any of these holes, you can use a 5/16 drill bit if needed to expand them to make it a little bit easier, but you should be able to do it with a 1/4" drill bit. Now that we've got our mount plate mounted and our holes drilled, we can return the full liner back into place and return all the OEM inserts. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and tuck this on the inside of the bumper like so. Get that lined up. Making sure that it's above the edge on the bottom here. Then it should just click into place. We'll put our mount tab in place right there. Now we can go ahead, come back on the inside, replace the insert in here. Now to mount the rear part of the liner, we're going to return the rearmost insert, the insert over here, insert right here, and then we're going to replace the factory insert here with our large insert. This just pushes on. It takes forever to unscrew, but it just pushes on. Okay. And now we're back in the wheel well. Now with the bottom side completely put back together and our large insert pressed in, we're going to return the threaded nut on the inside of the wheel well right here. One of the factory inserts right here, and the very small insert to the inside of the liner right here. Now we can go ahead and begin mounting our flap. To mount our flap, we're going to start with the bottom hole here in the flap, and we're going to go into the bottom threaded hole that we've created here. Go ahead, getting that started by hand. For the 3 threaded holes, we will be using a 25mm button head and a washer. We'll just line all 3 of these up, get those started by hand. Now we're going to get these lightly snugged down. Those lightly snugged down, but we're still able to just barely move the flap. We're actually going to jump on the bottom now and begin installing our bottom screw. Now we're going to take our 1-inch coarse threaded screw with washer, and we're going to screw directly into that large push-in insert. Going through our mount tab into that insert. Getting that lightly snugged. Now we'll go ahead, check with a level. Once we get it level, we'll go ahead and fully tighten it down. There we go. We've got it into position. We're going to take our Allen key. Fully tighten all three of these down inside the wheel well. Those fully tight. We'll fully tighten the bottom. With all hardware fully tightened down, that's how you complete the rear. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching.